So next I am going to discuss the solutions for the questions in the assignment in general circular motion, starting from question number 1. In case you are not having any doubts in the first 10 questions, you can skip this class and directly go to the next class. In case you have some doubts in the first few questions, you should listen to this class. So I am going to start the discussion for the questions in the assignment in general circular motion, starting with the question number 1. The ratio of the angle, see the question number 1, which I already shown earlier. The ratio of the angular velocities of the hour's hand of the clock and spinning of the earth on its own axis. The hour's hand of a clock will complete one revolution. In what time? For example, now the time is, for example, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. The hour's hand will come to the same position after how many hours? For example, if the time is now 6 o'clock, this is the hour's hand, this is the minute's hand. The hour's hand will come to the same position after, that means it again 6 o'clock, after 12 hours, that is at morning 6 a.m. Suppose if it is 6 p.m. now, for example, then the hour's hand will come to the same position at 6 a.m. That means the hour's hand of the clock the time period of revolution will be equal to hours. In uniform circular motion, angular speed or magnitude of angular velocity is given by 2 pi by time period of revolution. So I denote the time period of revolution for the hour's hand by T1. So for rotation of earth, so the angular speed I denoted by omega 1 here, that is 2 pi by T1. For rotation of earth, about its own axis. For rotation of the earth about its own axis, the time period of rotation or time period of revolution denoted by T2, that is equal to 1 day. The length of the day is the time taken by the earth to complete one revolution or one rotation about its own axis, that is equal to 24 hours. So the angular speed of rotation of the earth about its own axis I denoted by omega 2, that you can write 2 pi by T2. So divide omega 1 with omega 2. So omega 1 by omega 2, you get T2 by T1, that is 24 hours by 12 hours or 2 by 1. So omega 1 is to omega 2 is equal to 2:1. That's the answer for the question number 1. In case you want to copy the solution of this problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for the question number 1, which I just now discussed, the second option is answer. Then you see the next question, question number 2. two bodies of masses 2 kg and 1 kg are moving in concentric orbits of radii r1 and r2 such that their periods are same, and the ratio between their centripetal acceleration is, so magnitude of centripetal acceleration, the magnitude of centripetal acceleration of a particle circular motion is given by v square by r, or you can also write as r omega square. Here both the particles are moving in the circular path, I mean both the bodies are moving in circular path the same time period. So the angular speed of revolution or magnitude of angular velocity in uniform circular motion is given, can be written as 2 pi by capital T. Capital T is the time period of revolution. Here time periods are same for both the particles. Therefore angular speed omega will be the same for both the bodies. So magnitude of the centripetal acceleration of the first body I denoted by A1, can write R1 into omega square. Magnitude of centripetal acceleration second body R2 into omega square. So ratio of the magnitudes of the centripetal accelerations will be R1 by R2. So for question number 2, which I just now discussed, first option is answer. Then I am going to discuss the next question, question number 3. See the question number 3. If a body moves on the circumference of a circle in a horizontal plane with speed equal to that it would acquire by falling freely through half the radius of circle, its centripetal acceleration is. So if a body falls freely under gravity through a vertical height h, the magnitude of velocity acquired by it is given by, as I discussed in kinematics, will be given by v equal to root of 2gh. So when the body falls through a distance equal to half of the radius of circular path, if r is the radius of circular path, you can take h equal to r by 2. So according to the problem, the body moves in the circumference of a circular path in a horizontal plane with a speed that it would acquire by falling freely under gravity by a vertical distance equal to half of the radius of circular path. That means magnitude of the velocity of the body moving in the circular path, or speed of the body moving in the circular path, is same as the speed which a body falling freely under gravity will acquire after it falls through a height h equal to r by 2. So you can take v equal to root of 2gh, where h equal to r by 2 or root gr. So magnitude of the centripetal acceleration is given by v square by r. If you substitute v equal to root gr, so you get magnitude of centripetal acceleration as gr by r or equal to g. That's the answer. So for question number 3, which I have just now discussed, third option is answer. Next I am going to discuss the next question, question number 4. The uniform circular motion can be defined as the motion in a circle in which dash of the particle is a constant. See, in uniform circular motion I discussed in theory, angular velocity is constant. As I discussed in the beginning class on general circular motion, that in uniform circular motion, velocity is not constant. Velocity is constant in magnitude but continuously changes in direction. At any instant, velocity acts along the tangent to circular path. Even acceleration is not constant. The acceleration is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. So in the case of uniform circular motion, at any instant acceleration acts along the radius and towards center of circular path. So in uniform circular motion, angular velocity remains constant both in magnitude and direction. So third option is the answer for question number 4. Look at the question number 5. The length of the seconds hand of a clock is 10 centimeter. The speed of the tip of the hand is. So for seconds hand of a clock or watch. So you can look at your watch and you observe in what time interval the seconds hand will complete one revolution. You can look at the watch or look at the clock on the wall. In what time interval the seconds hand will complete one rotation or one revolution. The seconds hand of a watch or clock will complete one revolution in 1 minute or 60 seconds. So the time period of revolution for seconds hand of a watch or clock is 60 seconds. And angular speed should denote by omega is equal to 2 pi by time period of revolution. So angular speed of the seconds hand of a clock or watch will 2 pi by 60 radian per second or pi by 30 radian per second. So the tip of the seconds hand in the given problem, it is given that length of the seconds hand is 10 centimeter. That means the tip of that is end point of the seconds hand moves in a circular path of radius r equal to 10 centimeter. Therefore, linear speed of the tip of the seconds hand, the watch or clock will be equal to r into omega. Here r equal to 10 centimeter, omega equal to pi by 30 radian per second. So linear speed of the tip of the seconds hand will be equal to pi by 3 centimeter per second. So if you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. For the question number 5, which I have just now discussed, the first option is answer. Then look at the next question here, question number 6. Body of mass 1 kg tied to one end of a string is revolved in a horizontal circular path of radius 0.1 meter at the rate of 35 by 11 revolutions per second on a smooth horizontal table. The other end of string is fixed on the table and the tension in the string is. So you can first find the speed of the body or angular velocity, the number of revolutions completed per second, we call it as frequency of revolution. So you are given that the radius of the circular path denoted by small r equal to 0.1 meter. Of course, mass of the body moving in the circular path denoted by m is 1 kg. And frequency of revolution means number of revolutions completed per second denoted by small n. The frequency of revolution is 35 by 11 revolution per second. The frequency of revolution can be written as the reciprocal of time period of revolution. So angular speed or magnitude of linear velocity. Angular speed omega can be written as the magnitude of angular velocity 2 pi by time period of revolution, or 2 pi into frequency of revolution. So pi you can write 22 by 7 into 35 by 11 radian per second. This comes out to be 20 radian per second. So here the body is rotated in a horizontal plane in a horizontal circular path on a smooth table. So if you consider the forces acting on the body, let O be the center of circular path here. The weight mg acts vertically downwards perpendicular to the plane of circular path and acts perpendicular length of string at all the instants. The normal reaction force on the body by the smooth plane also acts perpendicular to the radius of circular path at all the instants. The tension force by the string on the body acts along the string and towards center of circular path. So the centripetal force on the body is equal to net force towards center, that is equal to magnitude of tension on the string. So magnitude of centripetal force on the body is same as the magnitude of tension on the string. The body has no motion in the vertical directions. That means its weight mg is balanced with the normal reaction force by the plane. So magnitude of tension centripetal force equal, you can write mv square by r, or you can also write mr omega square. Here mass m is 1 kg. The radius of circular path is 0.1 meter. Omega is 20 radian per second. Those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. They get the answer as 40 Newton. So for question number 6, third option is answer. See the next question. This is also similar situation you have here. String can sustain a maximum force of 400 newtons without breaking. Mass of 1 kg is tied to one end of a string 1 meter long. The mass is rotated in a horizontal circular path on a smooth horizontal surface. The other end of string is fixed on the table. The maximum linear speed of the mass. That means whatever situation I have discussed in the previous problem, the same situation you have in this problem also. That means here also magnitude of centripetal force same as the magnitude of tension force by the string, which you can write mv square by r. The radius of circular path is same as the length of string here, that is 1 meter. So you can write v square equal to tr by m. So maximum linear speed with which the mass can be rotated is equal to square root of maximum tension which the string can withstand without breaking into radius r by mass m. So the maximum tension which the string can withstand is given to 400 newtons. The radius of the circular path is 1 meter and mass of the body is 1 kg. So I get the answer as 20 meter per second. So for question number 7, second option is answer. Question number 8, look at the question number 8 here, two particles of equal masses are revolving in circular path continuously with constant speed. The ratio of centripetal forces acting on the particles is. So, the magnitude of the velocity of speed is same here for both the particles. So, magnitude of the centripetal force equal to product of mass of particle and magnitude of centripetal acceleration, which is equal to mv square by r. Here, magnitude of centripetal force on the first mass can write mv square by r1. Magnitude of centripetal force on the second mass is mv square by r2. So, ratio of the magnitude of the centripetal forces acting on the two particles will be equal to inverse ratio of their radii. So, for question number 8, which I have just now discussed, first option is answer. Look at the question number 9 here. Body of mass m is tied to one end of a spring and whirled round in a horizontal plane with a constant angular velocity. The elongation in the spring is 1 centimeter. If the angular velocity is doubled, the elongation in the spring is 5 centimeter. The variable length of spring is. So here the body is rotated in the horizontal plane. Let L0 denote the natural length of spring. So radius of circular path at any instant is equal to length of spring, that you can write L0 plus x, where x is the elongation of spring from its natural length. The weight mg acts vertically downwards. The normal reaction force acts vertically upwards, which balance. Normal reaction force balance the weight mg because both act in the vertical direction perpendicular to the plane of circular path. They provide no centripetal force. That means the normal reaction has no component towards center of circular path. The weight mg also has no component towards center of circular path. So net force acting on the body towards center of circular path is the elastic force by spring, which has magnitude k into x. So magnitude of the centripetal force same as the magnitude of the elastic force by spring, that you can write k into x. That is equal to mr omega square. Here the radius of circular path is equal to natural length L0 plus x. So in the first case, x is 1 centimeter. You can write here the general equation as kx equal to r can be written as L0 plus x. Let us denote the elongation of spring in the first case by x1 and angular speed of revolution by omega 1. So using this equation for the two cases separately. The second case, let x2 denote the elongation spring and omega 2 denote the angular speed of revolution. So using the same equation, kx equal to m into L0 plus x plus omega square in the second case, can write k into x2 equal to m into L0 plus x2 into omega 2 square. So if you divide the first equation, I mean this equation with this equation, You get K into x1. K is the elastic force constant of spring, which is a constant for a given spring. M is the mass of the body, which is also a constant for a given body. L0 is the natural length of spring. The length of spring when there is no elongation, when it is not stretched, unstretched length. That is also constant for a given spring. So you get M into L0 plus x1 by M into L0 plus x2 into omega 1 by omega 2 whole square. So you can cancel mass M on the right side, you can cancel K on the left side. So given that elongation of spring in the first case is 1 centimeter, angular speed in second case is double the angular speed in the first case, and the elongation of spring in second case is 5 centimeter. We substitute these values on both left hand side and right hand side. And the left hand side you can write x1 equal to 1 centimeter, x2 is 5 centimeters. So L0 plus x1 by L0 plus x2 is 5 centimeters. You can substitute omega 2 is equal to 2 times omega 1. So those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. And they can complete the simplification part also. They can try to complete the simplification part themselves. This problem was given, as I told you earlier, in 2003 MCET exam in the medical entrance. You can do the cross multiplication. Omega 1 gets cancelled on the right side. So you do the cross multiplication here, 4 into L0 plus 5 centimeter equal to 5 into L0 plus 1 centimeter. You can try to simplify this yourself. If you simplify this, you are supposed to get L0 equal to 15 centimeters. So answer is 15 centimeters. For question number 9, second option is answer, which I have just now discussed. See the next question, question number 10. Body of mass 100 kg moving in a circular path with constant speed is turned by 90 degrees when it moves a distance of 628 meters in 314 seconds. The external force on the body is, so magnitude of the centripetal force, you can write mv square by r. The mass m is given here to be 100 kg. You have to find the values of v and r. The speed of the body or magnitude of velocity in uniform circular motion can be the distance covered by time taken. In uniform circular motion, speed remains constant. So speed is equal to distance covered by time taken. So it covers a distance of 628 meters in 314 seconds. Therefore, the magnitude of the velocity or speed of the body is equal to 2 meters per second. Let r denote the radius of circular path. Let us suppose the body is moving in the horizontal plane in the circular path of radius r. So the body moves in the circular path. The body will be turned by 90 degrees. That means the velocity vector of the body will be turned by 90 degrees. After it travels a distance equal to 1/4, means 1/4 of the circle circumference. So it is given that the body is turned by 90 degrees after it has moved by 628 meters. That means one quarter circle has a length of 628 meters. That is 1/4 of circumference 2 pi r equal to 628 meters. As you must be knowing the value of pi, 22 by 7 or 3.14. So 2 pi is 6.28. So r you can write 4 into 628 meter by 2 pi. 2 pi is 6.28. So you get r equal to 400 meters. So magnitude of the centripetal force, the external force on the body in the horizontal plane towards center of circular path, we call centripetal force. So magnitude of centripetal force equal to mv square by r. If the mass m is 100 kg, the magnitude of velocity 2 meters per second. The radius of circular path is 400 meters. To simplify this, you get the answer as 1 Newton. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 10, which I have just now discussed, the first option is the answer. See the question number 11. What is the ratio of the normal reaction forces which an army tank bears down on the middle of the convex and concave bridges? The radius of curvature is 20 meters in both the cases. The speed of the tank is 36 km per hour. Take g equal 10 meter per second square. So in the first case, the bridge has a convex shape. That means the bridge is in the form of arc of a circle. So that when you see from above, it looks convex. This is one end of the bridge, this is the other end of the bridge. The bridge is in the form of an arc of a circle of radius r equal to 20 meters. So when the vehicle comes to the middle of the bridge, it lies directly above the center of curvature. Let O be the center of curvature. So the weight mg of the vehicle acts vertically downwards towards center of curvature. Let N1 denote the magnitude of the normal reaction force on the vehicle by the surface of the bridge in the first case, which acts perpendicular to surface in contact and directed away from surface in contact. So in the case of convex bridge, in the surface of bridge in the form of a convex shape here. That means the bridge in the form of arc of a circle, which is in the form of a circle of radius r equal to 20 meters. The magnitude of velocity is 36 km per hour, which you can convert into meter per second. So you can write 36 into 5 by 18 meter per second or 10 meter per second. In the first case, net force towards center or centripetal force on the body is equal to magnitude of net force towards center, that you can write mg minus n1. So in meter second law, that you can write mv square by r. Here magnitude of velocity is the same in both the cases. So from this equation you can write n1 equal to mg minus mv square by r. So here n1 is less than mg. Sometimes you may be asked to find what is the maximum speed with which vehicle can safely move. Of course, I'm on the convex bridge. For that, you have to take N1 to be greater than 0. Or mv square by r should be less than mg. Or v square should be less than or equal to gr. Or v should be less than or equal to root gr. That means the vehicle can safely move on the bridge if its velocity at the highest position on the convex bridge is not more than root gr. Of course, this part of the discussion is not required for solution of the problem. It is only an additional discussion. So in the second case, the vehicle moves on the bridge which is in the form of arc of circle of same radius 20 meters but in a concave shape. That means the bridge surface of bridge has concave shape when you see from above. Let O be the center of curvature of circular path or circular arc in which the bridge can be considered two parts. This is one end of the bridge, this is the other end of the bridge. So when the vehicle comes to the middle of the bridge, it lies directly below center of curvature. So the weight mg acts vertically downwards. The normal reaction force on the vehicle by the surface of the bridge acts perpendicular to surface in contact and direct away from surface. That means act towards center of curvature. Here O is center of curvature. So in second case, when the vehicle comes to the middle of the bridge, the magnitude of the centripetal force is equal to N2 minus mg. That you can write mv square by r. So magnitude of the normal reaction force on the vehicle by the surface of bridge is equal to mg plus mv square by r. That means N2 is greater than mg in this case, whereas N1 is less than mg. That means magnitude of normal reaction force on the vehicle by the bridge is larger when the bridge has concave shape. So there will be greater pressure on the wheels of the vehicle. The bridge has concave shape. So if you divide N1 with N2, because we are asked to find the ratio of N1 and N2, you can take M common in both numerator and denominator. N1 can be written M into G minus V square by R. And M2 can be written M into G plus V square by R. Can cancel M here. Can substitute G equal to 10 meter per second square and V equal to 10 meter per second and R equal to 20 meters. Those who want to copy the solution of the problem, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem and try to complete the simplification part to yourself. So you get N1 by N2 equal to 1 by 3. So for question number 4, which I have just now discussed, second option, I'm sorry, question number 11, which I have just now discussed, second option is the answer 1:3. So look at the question number 12. The maximum angular velocity of the platform when it revolves about its own axis is omega. What maximum distance from the axis of rotation an object can be placed so that it does not slide? Given that coefficient of friction between the object and surface of platform is nu. So the platform is understood to be in the horizontal here. So the weight of the object acts vertically downwards, perpendicular to the surface of the platform. Normal reaction force on the object by surface of platform acts vertically upwards, perpendicular to surface of the platform. As the object has no motion in the vertical direction, the weight mg is balanced by the normal reaction force. Let O be the center of the platform which coincides with the center of circular path. Let small r be the distance of the object from center of the platform, from the axis of rotation. The platform is rotating about a vertical axis with some angular speed omega. So the object placed on the platform moves in a circular path of radius r around the same axis. The object will have a tendency to move away from center, and friction opposes the relative motion. Between the object and the platform, the force of friction on the object by surface of the platform acts towards center of circular path. So with respect to laboratory frame of reference, three forces act on the object. One is its weight mg which acts vertically downwards. Second one is the normal reaction force by surface of platform which acts vertically upwards. Then force of static friction by surface of platform which acts towards center of circular path. As it has no motion in the vertical direction, weight mg is balanced by normal reaction. So magnitude of normal reaction we can write mg. And magnitude of the centripetal force on the object same as the magnitude of the force of static friction, that you can write mr omega square. But magnitude of the static friction has a limiting value in US into n. That means magnitude of static friction less than or equal to US into n. That is mr omega square less than or equal to US into mg. So r should be less than or equal to US into g by omega square. So the maximum distance from center of the platform from the axis of rotation up to which the object can be placed so that does not slip relative to the platform will be equal to US into g by omega square or nu into g by omega square. There is one problem based on this discussion given one of the previous MSET exam papers in the medical entrance, I think in 1998 or 99 MSET. If you want to copy the solution of the problem, you can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem. So for question number 12, second option is answer nu g by omega square. Then see the next question here, question number 13. Conical pendulum is moving in a circle with an angular velocity omega. As I discussed about the theory of conical pendulum earlier, the weight mg acts vertically downwards of the bob of the pendulum. The tension force by the string on the bob acts along the string and away from the bob. So I draw a separate fiber diagram here. the weight mg acts vertically downwards. The tension force by the string on the bob acts along the string at an angle theta with a vertical direction, which you can resolve into rectangular components along the horizontal and vertical directions. The vertical component of tension, which has magnitude T, causes the balance of the weight mg. The horizontal component of the tension, which has magnitude T sin theta, provides centripetal force. So T sin theta you can write mr omega square. This I discussed in the theory part in the conical simple problem. If r is the radius of the circular path, sin theta can be written as r by l. So if you substitute sin theta equal to r by l in this equation, second equation, on the left hand side, you get magnitude of the tension in the string is equal to ml omega square. I'll continue discussion of the remaining questions in my next class. Those who want to copy the solution, they can take a pause and copy the solution of the problem.